Prescription Celebrex can help relieve arthritis pain.
Attention women who took Zofran while pregnant.
Pradaxa is progress.
Died from internal bleeding after taking Pradaxa.
You're down with Crestor.
Yes! You may be entitled to money damages.
Chances are you've seen one of these commercials today.
You may have a mass tort case.
And ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor.
Ask your doctor? Really? What they're really saying is tell your doctor you need to have this drug.
Over the last 2 decades, pharmaceutical and lawyer advertising have given rise to a whole new phenomenon, the mass tort. Unlike a class action, in a mass tort, think Fen-Phen, Vioxx, or the recent hip implant or vaginal mesh cases, each plaintiff claiming injury from a drug or medical device, even as part of a large group, can experience different results. How people find their way into that group is where the controversy lies.
Cable television brings in junk plaintiffs. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. These people are genuinely hurt, but there's no causation between their injuries and the claims that they're making.
It's kind of an absurd contention. You know, the reality is no amount of advertising alters the fact that the drug or the implant is defective. It's a way of shifting the blame from the company that produced and manufactured and failed to adequately warn about their products to the victim.
What plaintiffs' lawyers and pharmaceutical companies probably can agree on is this: more people are taking drugs, more people are claiming injuries from those drugs, and more of those people seem to find lawyers.
The amount of publicity given to these cases certainly has increased the number of plaintiffs in litigations. I don't think that's any question.
Today, people are searching the internet and, they punch in the injury that they have. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it pops up to a plaintiff's law firm.
Once these cases pile up, it's the courts that have to deal with them. If large enough, it could turn into a multi-district mass tort litigation. The question for pharmaceutical companies then becomes how many cases to try, and when or if to settle them as a group. Consider recent litigation. Risperdal, an antipsychotic drug manufactured by Janssen, at the center of last year's $2.2 billion settlement with the federal government over fraudulent marketing. Now individuals in a mass tort group are suing the drug company for injuries.
There are over 250 cases that are actually filed in the court system. There are many young men who sustained this really very disfiguring injury known as gynecomastia, and that injury was not properly warned about.
Kline, who partnered with the Scher firm in taking on Janssen, won a $2.5 million verdict in the first Risperdal trial. But just weeks later, in a second trial, Janssen prevailed, throwing a curveball at legal pundits as to which way this mass tort could go.
The most recent Risperdal cases, the objective in trying that first case was probably not the defendant's choice, but it may have been the worst case that the defendants would face. And so it would set a high ceiling while the second case would set a low ceiling.
Meaning in the long run, it's the voice of juries who signal liability and the value of mass tort cases, and whether or not it's time for a company to settle them all.
I think every mass tort sort of lives its own life. It depends on how the first couple trials go. First, how the defendants want to defend the case. It depends a lot, to be honest, on the pharmaceutical company that's on the other side and what approach they take.
We may settle cases not because we think we're wrong, but because it's just, from a financial standpoint, it's the best thing for us to do.
There's no doubt that technology and the media has played a role in pharmaceutical litigation, raising the profile of these cases and making it all the easier for plaintiffs' lawyers to find clients. The defense, on the other hand, is doing its best to limit damages and keep some of these cases out of court altogether. That tension is keeping the courts plenty busy. For the American Law Journal, I'm Gina Passarella.